What if I told you some everyday things parents do are actually slowing down their baby's brain development?
Okay, so let's just jump right in. If you've ever had a toddler, you absolutely know the feeling. You've set a boundary, you've explained the rule, and then you just watch as they break it with this look of intense focus. It is exhausting. But what if all those behaviors that drive you completely bonkers aren't actually signs of a problem, but instead they're indicators of a really powerful mind at work? Today, we're going to reframe pretty much everything you thought you knew about your difficult toddler.
Just picture this for a second. You told them, "Don't touch the cabinet." Of course, they touched it anyway. So you move them across the room, and they just crawl right back. You put a lock on it, and they spend the next 20 minutes trying to figure it out. And right there, in that moment, as you're cleaning up whatever mess they've made, a little thought crosses your mind.
And that is the crucial question, isn't it? See, developmental psychologists have found that the very behaviors we tend to label as problematic are often signs of a brain that's operating a few steps ahead of its environment. You're not managing a difficult child. You're actually managing a mind that just hasn't found its match yet.
So let's start to decode some of this chaos. First up, we're going to look at the most common problem behaviors, but we're going to do it through the lens of cognitive science.
This really captures the entire paradigm shift right here. On the left, we see what we see, right? Chaos, frustration. But over on the right, that's what researchers see, a brain that's processing information at an incredibly high level. The chaos you feel like you're constantly managing, a lot of the time, that's the solution their brain invented for a problem you didn't even know existed. Let's start with a big one, defiance. Now look, any toddler can break a rule impulsively, but here's the thing. Research from Vanderbilt University found that highly intelligent toddlers often break rules on purpose. They actually have a reason, a logic. Now, it might be flawed, like I took it because she wasn't using it, but the logic is there. This isn't just defiance. It's actually one of the very first forms of independent critical thinking, and it's a predictor of later executive function. And what about all the destruction? The toy that's been dismantled, the cabinet that's been emptied for the 4th time this week? It looks like total chaos, but researchers who study what they call exploratory drive find it's often something else entirely. It's not destruction, it's engineering. It's a child taking something apart just to understand how it works. Okay, so how in the world are you supposed to tell the difference? Is it a tantrum or is it an experiment? Well, the answer is actually simpler than you think. Here's the secret. Don't watch the act, watch the aftermath. A child who is just being destructive might look guilty or just wander off to the next thing, but a child who is investigating will study what they've created. They might even try to put it back together. Their expression isn't guilt, it's curiosity. You're not looking at a mess, you're looking at a child who doesn't have a lab. This one illustrates an idea from Johns Hopkins research called the stimulation threshold. So a toddler who can't seem to sit still isn't necessarily hyperactive. A lot of the time, they're just underoccupied. Their high-capacity mind needs more complexity to feel regulated. And when they don't get it, well, they create it themselves.
And the signs of a high-capacity mind don't stop there. What we might see as intense crying, for example, often points to a highly sensitive nervous system that just feels everything more deeply. That resistance to sleep, it's been linked to brains that spend more time in active REM sleep just processing the day. The relentless why questions, that isn't just an interruption, it is the mechanism of intelligence itself. And a strong sense of fairness, that shows really advanced social emotional processing. So why is all of this happening with such incredible intensity during the toddler years? The answer lies in the explosive growth that's happening inside their brain. So in this next section, we're going to get into the science that's fueling all this chaos. Okay, get ready for this number. In the first few years of life, your child's brain is forming over 1 million new neural connections every single second. No, that is not a typo. Every second.
And this is why those day-to-day interactions are just so profound. You're not just passing the time with them. You are the lead architect of their brain. Every sound you make, every look you give them, it's all foundational. So how can we be a little more intentional about this whole process?
And that brings us to the really practical part. Knowing they have this high-capacity mind is one thing, but actually nurturing it is another. And it doesn't require fancy toys or flashcards. It's all about simple, daily rituals that directly feed those million new neural connections we were just talking about.
Let's focus on 3 really powerful, research-backed actions you can weave into your daily routine.
starting like right now. First up, serve and return. When your baby makes a sound, a little ba or a coo, that's the serve. You immediately copy it back with eye contact. That's the return. This simple little act activates their mirror neurons. It's telling their brain, hey, my sounds have power. Communication is a back and forth thing. You're basically having their first conversation, and it's building the literal neural pathways for all future language.
Second, narrate their world. And this means talking with them, not just at them. Say a short sentence, then just pause. Wait for the response. It could be a look, a sound, and then acknowledge it. This teaches the whole rhythm of conversation. And when they're emotional, just name it. You are so frustrated. This builds that crucial link between a feeling and a work, which, it turns out, is the absolute foundation of emotional intelligence.
And third, give them effort. I know, this one can be tough. When they're reaching for a toy that's just out of grasp, our instinct is to help immediately. But instead, just pause. Count to 10 in your head. Those few seconds of manageable struggle, it's like resistance training for their brain. They're building the neural pathways for persistence and for problem solving. You're teaching them maybe the most valuable lesson of all. I can do hard things.
When you put all this together, it fundamentally changes your role. You get to shift from being a manager to being a cultivator.
This quote really just says it all, doesn't it? The defiance, the deconstruction, the endless questions, it's all part of this massive construction project. They are building their own mind, their understanding of the world, their future self.
So, the big takeaway is this. Your job shifts from being a manager who's just putting out fires all day to a cultivator of a brilliant, burgeoning mind. It's about understanding the why behind the what, and then guiding that incredible energy, not trying to extinguish it.
And that's the question I really want to leave you with. The next time you see that difficult behavior, just pause for a second and ask yourself this. Because what looks like chaos today might just be the blueprint for the genius they are becoming.